All right. Good afternoon. Greetings and salutations to everyone out there, as old Joe Collins would say. It's good to see everybody in chat. I've been working on some stuff. A quick update. I did get a couple comments and emails about the Archmatic script. That is not complete. What I was doing during all those live streams, we were just kind of formulating, and it was all kind of broken out into like 4 or 5 different sections, so I could work on each section as we got done. It's kind of how you usually approach some stuff in whenever you do programming. I think they even had it's even like a course you can take, which is kind of nuts. I can't even remember what it was called. I want to say skim, but that's not it. It was like one word. Anyways, whatever it is, that type of logic, you break everything up into little tiny spots, and then you do sprints and all this other stuff. Well, anyways, I kind of did like a micro version of that. And then when I did last night afterwards, once I figured out all the parts were working, getting them all to work in tandem was the next thing. And that means condensing it into one script. So you're not sitting there going, okay, I'm at this part, I run this script. No. That's not how we do it. So the whole point of that was complete automation. And so much so that there's certain things that happens in Linux that don't really need to happen. Like, did you install your video drivers? Or asking questions like, hey, is this an AMD or an NVIDIA GPU or an Intel integrated GPU? All those things can be discovered through like an LSPCI, and it's just a matter of programming and automating it. So the whole idea behind that was just complete automation, 100%. And that's what I was going for there. And I'm getting close, getting very, very close. I've run that script, I don't know, probably 10 times just today only. I was working late on it last night, and it's coming together. I'll probably at the very end, when it's completely finished, I'll probably go ahead, pull all of it off, and create a whole new Git project for it. So like that'll be the 1.0 release, and that'll be it. Because Archmatic originally was somebody else's script, and I just kind of took it, and very, very little of the code is actually original to that anymore. Almost everything's been ripped apart and gutted. So that's why I'll probably just do a whole new project, because it's never going back to the master branch at this point with everything done. Oh, man. But very, very fun. Also, other things, I saw a couple people comment on the thumbnail. A lot of these live thumbnails, I'm just going to cam up and have fun with. At the end of the day, it's just a live thumbnail that you'll only see probably on your feed for when I'm live, or maybe I think 15 minutes before I usually toss it up into public, but then afterwards I pull it down. So it's not gonna do anything other than have some folks click in during the live stream, and then the thumbnail just kind of sits in the live stream archive, which is just kind of a fun way of doing things. Yeah, and that's the idea. Bob says, once the script's finished, it's going to be my daily driver. And the idea is to do it in Arch, and then a lot of those same principles we do in Arch, we're going to do in Debian. Because Debian's, some people love Debian, which I love it. I love both. So we're going to do both. And then we're going to make a script, and at the end of all of it, the idea is you just run one command, and I'm actually looking into, I don't want to promise this, so take it with a grain of salt. But at the end of this, I want to make it to where you just plug in a USB drive, and then it just does everything. There is no Git clone or any of it. So that's where we're headed, and even creating our own ISOs and those types of things. I really enjoy that, and I think there's going to be a lot of value in that as well. Other big things were the Windows 10 debloat script, or actually Windows debloat script, really. I'm working on an update to that probably here in the next couple weeks. I'll do a live stream when we start really coding into that and adding a lot to it. There's some things that happen, and there's also some issues that people have run into that I'll probably fix. So when we do that, it'll be good. Yeah, Debian just works. Impossible to break, boring as hell. I can attest to that. If anybody can break it, it would be me. And I don't think I ever have. Would be nice if this tech bull actually helps somebody. Oh my gosh. I think we got a hater in chat. Oh, poor guy. And you're gone. Goodbye. So anyways, that's kind of a couple new things I have going on in the new realm, and then I also kind of want to show where we're at on that script we've been working on for like the whole past week, which would be great. Well, I mean, that's just it. It's the nature of the internet. You're gonna have your attractors and detractors, and I always tell people that's okay. The worst thing that could happen is if someone pulled up and said, "This is boring. I don't feel anything. I'm out," and then just clicks off. But someone clicks in and goes, "Oh, I don't like this guy. I'm gonna comment." I'm okay with that. That's okay. That's a good thing when it comes to YouTube. So it's either just making you feel something, whether that's good or bad. I think it's just how social media works, which is fine. Hey, David, how you doing? Hope you're having a good week as well. I tried to switch up. I know I'm going to live stream at least twice a week, and I wanted to make it to where I hit different time zones. So if you're overseas or maybe here in the States, I'm going to try and do that to where we have a little bit of a mix-up on the time zones so I can hit a lot of folks. If you're getting trolls, you know the algo's working. It's true. What do they say? The worst... the thing that most people fear on YouTube is blowing up or having a video blow up. Because then, oh man, then you get the whole internet, and it's something to behold. Currently making my own auto install script, so can't wait for yours to be done. Yeah, that's the whole point. Use portions, strip it apart, figure out what you like, what you don't like, and then grab it. That's the best. That's what I love about GitHub. Yeah, and the live streams are just kind of there. It took me a long time to figure out YouTube live streaming, how to do it without it negatively impacting you. And I think I figured out a really good way during this to kind of get through. And what it is, it's even like top creators, like people that are making crazy video productions and everything, even them really don't, very few have it figured out on the live streams. Even people that I think are experts in the live streaming field still don't know a lot about YouTube live streaming, or maybe they do and they just don't follow all their own advice. I've seen that before, where you have to have a good thumbnail, and that applies to live streams. I hate to tell people that, but you got to have some kind of thumbnail. And then the production has to be pretty good, but a lot of people can do that now. And then the last thing is it should be unlisted after you're done. It has to go somewhere that is not going to clog up the YouTube algo, because that will tank your channel. So all these have to be unlisted in their own little playlist where people can still find them, but it will never hit a recommended, or, hey, you might also like this 5-hour-long live stream or something crazy. Jose, I've never heard of that, but I love traveling. I've actually just been a family man for pretty much the past, 16 years, really. So it was probably my low 20s the last time I really traveled a whole bunch. So I've been pretty rooted here in Dallas-Fort Worth, but man, I would love to get out more, which will probably happen here in, I don't know, probably when my daughter is in high school, probably. So, 5-6 years. I tried Twitch streaming. I've did Twitch streaming for a couple years, actually, and it's kind of fun. I enjoy it, but it was it felt like I was just kind of wasting my time at Twitch, and it's not really meant for more diverse content like this. It's really geared towards gaming, which is fine, and it's okay, and it's great for gaming, but Twitch itself, I think, is I really like the more integrated approach of YouTube, even though it's more difficult to actually live stream here. Hello from Egypt. Yeah, that's on my bucket list, is Egypt. I love to go out there. Yeah, the streaming platform, the biggest thing YouTube streaming can do right now is fix chat. Chat moderation is janky. It's a little rough. So chat is the biggest thing. I'd love to see that integrated a little bit better. But other than that, I mean, the rest of the features and things are coming along on YouTube. I really enjoy it. Do you ever do any streaming gaming? I won't do game streaming here on this channel, but I did create a new channel like Titus Tech Gaming. I haven't really uploaded any videos, where anytime I game, I'll probably actually go over there and do a little bit. That'd be fun. So I do like game streaming every once in a while, but I know that wouldn't be... Most people that subscribe to me wouldn't enjoy that, so I'll put that on a separate channel. Aurora, my wife, is all about the Italy. She's like, that's the first place we're going. I'm like, all right. Oh, no, yeah, like a lot of the mods, like Hikari, Mitchell, Michael, if he jumps in, a lot of them actually are like, oh gosh, Twitch is so much better for moderating, but it's okay. They'll get there. It'll keep improving, slowly and steady. It's what wins the race, like the tortoise. Do you do full-time YouTube now? Are you still working a regular job as well? I am still working a regular job. I have hired a replacement, and I've been working. What happened there was I was actually cut back my hours, and their business that I work at, they've actually done really well. They've blown it out of the water. 2020, 2021 has been very, very good to them, and they started expanding. So they opened up 2 more branches and are kind of expanding as a business. And they were like, hey, Titus, we love you, but we kind of need you to come in more. And I was like, I can't. I got so much stuff going. I can't finish everything I got on my plate right now. And they're like, oh, all right. Well, I guess plan B then. Can you find somebody? And I was like, all right, yeah, I could find somebody. So that's who I ended up hiring, and I'll train him to be my replacement. And whenever that happens, and it happens. So that's kind of where we're at. It's fun though. I love what I do, which is IT manager. YouTube chat is almost as janky as Linux. I saw the Linux experiments video of that. That was great. How do you think your version of SteamOS is going? Pretty good. I'll jump on desktop and show y'all a little run through of it. We'll see how it goes. How do you hire your own replacement? Is it your own business? No, I've worked at that business or worked with them for probably 13 years or something. So I have a really good personal relationship with a lot of the owners, and I could just quit, honestly. I could just walk out if I wanted to, but leaving someone that like that high and dry is just not the right thing. So finding a replacement, training them, those types of things, and then if they want to keep me on, I'm cool with that too. So whatever they're comfortable with. And like I said, it's not hugely stressful or anything. I remember when I was an IT director, that was rough. But now, I mean, it's a relatively small business. I guess it's not really that small. Medium-sized business, I guess. You like playing competitive games? Yeah, I used to have like an MMO addiction. I loved like the original EverQuest, Final Fantasy 11. Oh, I love that stuff. If your first night in the Linux community's Fight Club, who do you challenge to fight? Probably Stallman. That's who I would go for. Pick the 70-year-old. It's a guaranteed W. Have you tried Garuda before? No, I haven't, but I love the fact their initial setup is very, very nice. It looks beautiful. I've always said that about Garuda. But I've always been, I don't really care about the distributions. I've never been much for like a distro reviewer kind of channel thing. I've always just, hey, how does this work? How can we make it work for us? And that's kind of how I do. Do managers have a lot of documentation to do? Depends on the business. Some of it can be a little tedious, expense reports and those types of things. You know, product requisition. Bigger business, it can get real tedious because you'll have like, anytime you do like CapExes or capital expenditures, you have to like, let's say I wanted to buy a bunch of sands for a data center. You're probably looking at like $250,000, and that has to be pre-approved, and it goes through all these different channels, and then you usually have higher ups. You have a meeting about it, and yeah, that's always fun because they don't want to just blow a crap ton of money on something that's not going to help them. So it can be. But my job, no, it's not tedious at all. Like I said, I have a really close working relationship with the owners. Did you ever try Arch ISO? Yes, Fedora Rose. I've actually been looking at Arch ISO, and it's been great. I'm probably going to create my own ISO using it for sure. But I really want the script to kind of stand on its own. What's your long-term plan with the channel? Still Linux or move towards other tech? It's always been operating systems in general. It's always been a good blend between Windows and Linux. A lot of people look at me as like a Linux creator, where it's always been Windows has been a huge pull of the channel. I know a lot of people don't want to understand that, but for the past couple of years, it's been that. I mean, to be honest, that's where most of the views come from on the channel. I do have a huge Linux library where I've made a ton of Linux videos. A lot of that comes from, I love talking about that. It's just fun. It's fun for me. And that's why I've talked about it so much. A lot of times I'm like, ooh, this is good. I love it. So it's good. I switched from VirtualBox to QEMU, KVM, and Virt Manager. That's awesome. Yeah. You can't get a better hypervisor than QEMU, KVM when you're in an operating system, in my opinion. Are you using WSLG? Does it only work on Windows 11 now? It works on, I want to say 21H1 of Windows 10. So the very bleeding edge of Windows 10, you can do WSLG, and then obviously it's baked into Windows 11. Dual boot Win 10. Yeah, that's crazy. Is AMD supported on Chrome OS? Yeah, it's supported. I'm still waiting. Chrome OS, I have my Chromebook back there, but that one is, oh gosh, what is it? I want to say Chrome OS runs on Linux kernel 5.4, and I'm still waiting for that kernel update because my audio driver is a little funky when using their containerized Linux boxes. And yeah, bringing over my audio is still real ugly. And I really am waiting for them to do the leap from 5.4 to 5.10, and then I think my audio and everything is going to come in great. So that's the big thing about AMD on Chrome OS. Have you ever thought about doing scripts for LFS like you did for Arch? Possibly. I mean, it just depends. I really like the community or the repositories of Arch and Debian. Really, those two are the big dogs in the space. Almost every distro is based on one or the other. Yeah, there's RHEL and some other stuff. A lot of people like Fedora, but for the most part, those two branches cover 90-something% of Linux, which is pretty big. And I'm not looking to build my own distro. I really just kind of want to show people what the full customization looks like. And that's really what I was going for with a lot of these scripts. Can you check out the latest DistroTube video? Was that when he was slamming Ubuntu 21.10? I think I saw that one. Well, I mean, I didn't see the whole thing, but I saw it posted. Greetings from Poland. Welcome to chat, man. Minecraft is not using ACO, although I enabled it. Anybody help? Gamer King, you could be using AMD's VLK driver instead of the official AMD GPU driver. I think you can do a kernel and check that out. A lot of people don't realize there's 2 open source versions of AMD drivers, really. Are you ever working with Red Hat? I've worked with Red Hats in the past and done some stuff with them, but nothing on the channel, nothing from a media perspective. It was mainly all technical. You did build your own Windows distro, though. I mean, everything's customization. Distros are just customizing a main branch, really. And that's what a lot of people need to realize. Jumping from one to the next is usually meh. A lot of times I see people go from like Pop OS to Mint, or to go from Ubuntu to, KDE Neon. Everything I just said is the same thing. It's just different customizations. And usually people are just shooting themselves in the foot by distro hopping, so to speak. Oh, what was the latest distro video? I hadn't seen. I don't follow much of the Linux creators and a lot of the tech space. I think lately, I even have a hard time following Linus, which he's probably the biggest tech YouTuber. I know he has his Linux challenge going, I think that's going to be pretty interesting when he finally makes that video. I'll definitely watch that. Have you tried getting New World working on Linux? I don't think they've enabled EAC right just yet. Can you create Linux distribution from scratch? Yeah, you can do LFS. That's totally a thing if you want it. I don't know if it's called distro making. I mean, that's just, like I said, a customization script. It's still vanilla Arch at the end of the day. I don't think I would slap my logo on it and sell it or anything. I'd much rather just teach people about the customization aspect of distros. Understanding how to customize an Arch or how to customize a Debian, I think, will make people use or be able to use Linux. I think a lot of people miss the whole point. With distributions and a lot of the Linux community, they just don't understand. Creating all these distributions ruins a lot of adoption, because no distribution's perfect. Every distribution has its flaws. It's about whether or not you can figure out what those flaws are and then fix them. Most people just go, well, I don't know, there's just something I don't like about this, and you know what, I saw this fancy new distro over here, I'm gonna install that. And then they install that, and then they're like, it's better, but now something else is bugging me. I'm gonna distro hop to something else. And really all that does is any new user coming over does it, and then they're like, Linux sucks. I'm gonna move back to Windows and Mac. And that's what distro hopping really is. Very few make it out of there and go, I like Linux. We're gonna, or they may say, I like Linux, but I need Windows, or I need Mac because of fill in the blank. And there are some legit fill in the blanks there, by the way. I mean, Adobe Creative Suite, yeah, you're gonna need Mac or Windows. Office 365, you're probably gonna need Mac or Windows. It actually works better on Mac, by the way. It's kind of funny. Microsoft's own product works better on Mac. I always thought that was pretty hilarious. What do you think of Bash Top? I love it. It's like a pretty H-top. I rarely ever use it, but I do love I do love it. Yeah, and that's also kind of Charles said up here. I started coming here because of your Windows videos, but now I'm here for Linux. That's kind of my secret. Don't tell anybody. I'm here to just lure the Windows users in and then be like, hey, you should check out this thing called Linux. It's kind of neat. So, but shh. It works better if you don't tell anybody that. It's not that Ubuntu video. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I try not to crap on any distro. That's the one thing. I learned my lesson. Back in 2019, I made a video called Ubuntu's the Devil. And, oh man, that was a mistake. I mean, it was great for YouTube, mind you. I think it got like 1 million views or something. Well into the... I know it got well over 500,000 views. And it was just such a poorly articulated video. When I rewatched it, I was just like, oh, gosh. I am making a lot of money on this video, but it's not worth it. So you can't ever find that video. I think I put it in the members section. So it just like as an archive to if I ever wanted to go back and look at how I started, I can, or if people that are in the membership want to look at that, they can. But I didn't want people to find that, and I always think of, would I be okay for someone watching that video for the first time? It would give them the wrong impression of me. So that's why I took that down. Does Linux OS have a backdoor? No. It's completely open source, so you have everybody reviewing the code. That's just one of the things. I'm a big fan of open source. I think I watched... You know what the cringiest thing I've seen kind of making the rounds? About security. Just my hot take here about Twitch and the Twitch hack. A lot of people are like, this is terrible for Twitch. It is the end. Now, I don't like Twitch. So I want to just say that up front. I'm not defending them. But this Twitch hack where they leaked all their source code, I would be scared to death to use any of that source code. Because if it ever got found out that I copy and pasted any of that Twitch stuff, the one thing that big tech has is tons upon tons and tons of lawyers. And they could just ruin you for just copying and pasting their code through a hacked thing. So that's not a big deal. And then another thing I heard was, hey, now that all their source code's open, there's going to be a lot more hacks. People are going to figure out all the loopholes of Twitch. And I would say maybe initially you might see an uptick if there's some vulnerabilities, but you better believe someone of that size has like a security team and they're looking at this type of stuff. So at the end of the day, might be 3 to 6 months, they'll probably actually have better security because all of it's open now and gonna be exploited. They'll be able to, patch those holes when it happens. I mean, if they're competent. And it could be a net win for the security aspect. Just throwing that out there. That's my hot take. But Twitch, the company itself, I think is poorly run. I think it has a terrible management team. I think their executive team doesn't know jack about business, and they're just flailing around at straws. So from a business perspective, I think it's terrible. From a technical perspective, I'm just like, that's a bad day, but one that they could get over. Hey, what's up, GFY? He's in chat. What else we got? I know I missed some chat here. Thank God I have this massive monitor so I can easily just go through chat. Yeah, if you're gonna use like the Archmatic script, by the way, do it in a VM first, just so you kind of get your feet wet. For sure. When will we get this minimal Windows 11 ISO? I won't make a Windows ISO. After that one guy went to prison for just giving recovery ISOs, it wasn't even illegally copied or anything like that. It was just him giving recovery ISOs on refurbs. Yeah, I'm out on that. That's like, nope. So I won't ever make a Windows ISO. I'll teach you how to make one, but I will never make one. Hey, Joshua, thanks, man. First time watching one of your live streams. Well, glad to have you here, man. Sometimes I get a little backlogged on my chat, especially if I'm like in the middle of something. It can get a little rough in here. And then I'll usually look over and I'll be like, oh, there's a lot of RTFCs. Read the effing chat is usually what that means. I need to make a emoji, RTFC emoji, so everyone can spam that. Oh, yeah, I did see that, Zero, about the con save. Man, I love that con save tool. I did notice a little bug on the con save. When you go to import and apply at the same time on con save, I don't know if it was Python or what, but there was a little bit of a delay. It's in the millisecond, so it's not like a big deal, but if it was just right after the other and those commands were getting run, I had to put like a really small sleep command, like a sleep 1 in my bash script to just get that to apply properly. For some odd reason, I guess it was maybe because it was running in Python, and yeah, it caused a little bit of a hiccup for me. But one thing about con save, if you are going to toss it into a script, why the creepy thumbnail? For fun, man. Halloween's right around the corner. I got to have fun with those thumbnails. That's a big thing. I'm all about the thumbnails. You gotta be if you're on YouTube. If you make boring thumbnails, you ain't gonna last long. Gotta have fun with it. We can test the script real fast. Some people keep asking about that. We can test it. I'll pop on the desktop here. We'll test out the script. Gnome creepy pasta. All right, I gotta check it out now. What we got? This Let me. What do we got? YouTube. Creepy pasta. Here we go. That's funny. Oh, I saw the evil garden gnomes and I was like, oh my gosh. All right, that one destroyed. Oh my gosh. That's pretty hilarious. Is that 150? I would play it, but I know I get copyright claimed. That's awesome. I'll have to check that out afterwards. I'm not a big fan of gnomes, so I'll probably like that video. That's greatness. Here's the script, by the way, kind of what I've been working on. I wanted to, yeah, I need to commit that. I was fixing one part of this script, but here's the latest things. I worked until about midnight last night on this, and we'll run it real quick. Just a quick run. No coding today. Did I already have everything? All right, cool. This is a fresh install of Arch. Nothing's on any of the drives, so this would be as if you booted up your Arch for the first time. We're just going to install Git. Just do a git clone and then clone our project. I think I'm going to call the project Arch Titus when we're done. But for now, it'll be me and then Archmatic. So what we did here, and we'll just get into the project, do an LSAL. I've added a couple things. Obviously, the con save, which we went over in this past one, but I've added a main script. I've also added triggers to detect, are you using AMD or Intel? And that It'll say, hey, you're on an Intel system. It'll install the U code for Intel. You don't need to select. It'll say, hey, are you using an NVIDIA or an AMD graphics card? It'll look for both. And if it doesn't find that, it'll be like, oh, are you using integrated graphics? Are you just down here? Cool, we'll install the Intel graphics for that. Oh, you don't have any of those? I want to install any of it. So it looks for all that using like an LSPCI command and then runs it. So it should be just a simple run the one command and it'll just do everything for you. That's the whole purpose of this. So we'll just watch it go. Yeah, I like that. I love the artistic thumbnails, man. That's what it's about. A lot of people don't realize it's not about how descriptive you are in your thumbnails. That's actually the worst thing you can do. It has to be somewhat intriguing, and that's what makes a good thumbnail. You have to have some kind of intrigue, and if you can, add some kind of story with it. And that's gonna be helpful. Good evening from Cyprus. Oh man, I hear it's beautiful there. It's pretty beautiful here right now. It's actually like 70 degrees. This is like the prime time. All right, now we just put our disk in. Don't type the wrong disk. It'll format it, and that'll be all she wrote. So now we just said the disk. So we did one script, and then we put our disk in. Asus laptops. Asus laptops are one of my favorite laptops, actually. Favorite mainstream laptop, I would say. They work really well with Linux. I've actually have a 15-year-old Asus laptop in the other room with Mint loaded on it, and it works phenomenal. My son uses it for like Zoom calls and stuff like that. It's a great laptop. YouTube isn't letting me send a $20 super chat. Could be my... I don't know. Now, you shouldn't need to open a port. No way. No way would you need to open a port, man. Don't ever open a port to interact with it. HTTP. There's no way. Something else is going on there. It's probably like... It could be the country of origin. It could be a lot of things. It's definitely something with YouTube, though. I forked Archmatic. That's good stuff. Yeah, I've done... So last night I stayed up till... probably around midnight, and I did another probably 30 or 40 commits. So since the last time we were on the live stream, I did a lot of automation and cleanup, and now it's really making this thing look pretty, is what we're doing. Be careful with ConSave. It won't back up anything outside the home folder, like themes installed from Pac-Man. Oh... That's a good tip there, Zero Linux. Ooh, good to know. I probably should do that ConSave sooner than a lot of the themes outside. So I want to say, I think I have Lightly on there, but I don't think it's a global theme. I think Lightly is more of a user-based theme. I don't know. We'll check it out. We'll see what happens. KDE Neon versus Kubuntu. Choose one and why? That's a great question. Kubuntu. Kubuntu has a phenomenal team. I like the team, and it's a well packaged portion. KDE Neon is more. It has like this weird janky package manager on top of apt, and they use that to kind of get the latest and greatest KDE on the Ubuntu stack, or the Debian stack, I should say. And it's just, meh. I'm not a big fan. I love the fact, the one thing I do like about KDE Neon is it's pretty minimal by design, where Kubuntu, the stock installs a little bit on the heavy side, which I'm not a big fan of. Yeah, now that Zero Linux said that with ConSave, I'm wondering if we'll just get like a black screen because it wiped out some of our initial profiles. Possible. We'll see. You use GIMP for thumbnails? Oh yeah. GIMP and me are we're tight. I love GIMP. Even on Windows, like I've had Photoshop and GIMP side by side, and these days I did a bunch of script foo things for shadowing and outlines and all this other stuff. I prefer GIMP for almost everything I do for photo edits. There's a couple things that I don't. Specifically, one thing Photoshop has that I miss is when I try to like outline myself to like do a cutout and like throw some text behind my head and kind of give that appearance of depth and add some depth to a thumbnail. It's a little bit more of a headache in GIMP. It's a little more time consuming. I mean, it's like maybe a minute, where Photoshop has like a one-click select the edges of a specific subject, which is pretty nice. But for GIMP, I'm just like, oh well, I use like the lasso select tool and freehand it. Yeah, I saw that actually Veritasium video on thumbnails. It shows the importance of thumbnails. I learned a lot on that video, because he was like the anti-clickbait creator for almost everything, right? But he had run into a lot of problems, like some videos of his, which were all pretty high quality in production and everything. I think he even has like a team of people and stuff. But some of them are just tanking because of how he titled them. But he really understands it probably better than most. We'll just call this gaming user. And I want to see, I think I was having problems with the script dying in the user script section. Let's see what happens. I'll tell you if it does. Nah, we're getting close though. I'm seeing Xorg packages, so we're getting close to the end of, I think, the second script. We've done the pre-install. This is actually moving to the second script. It just does it all automatically now. And then once this script's done, it'll move from Pacman and you'll start seeing yay commands. That'll be in the user section. Basically, I looked up commands how to use arch chroot as a user and then submit the commands in, and it's a lot cleaner that way. Let's see what we get. Lightly's a pretty big package. I've also, we were having problems with prompt selection, and I also fixed that. So now we have a full bash prompt. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter because it'll go into the bash prompt, it'll do everything for you, and then it'll exit it and kick you back to the live ISO. So it should do everything automatically. Nah, it does all the partitioning in the script as well. You just have to select the device. It will not partition two operating systems. Whatever device you select, it's wiping out, and it'll do all the partitioning. And it'll need to be EFI, no legacy. Everything's EFI based. I think Slackware has like a dedicated core community. It's one of the first distros that are still running from when Linux was established, really. Proton GE versus Proton. I'm a big fan of you just rolling with GE on everything. I love Glorious Egg Roll's spin of Proton. Ah, that's a good one. Yeah, you have a Logitech USB headset. Is there a way to change it from the sound being so tinny on Pop OS? I think, is Pop using Pipewire now, guys? Maybe chat can help us out with this one. Because there's Pulse Audio, and then there's Pipewire, which is a little newer. And I don't know if Pop has moved to Pipewire or not. And what I'd say to that is, hey, if you have Pipewire installed, go back to Pulse, uninstall Pipewire. But if you have Pulse installed, upgrade to Pipewire. Might help either or. If none of that works, I think you can do modifications in ALSA, the ALSA.conf file, I think it is, where you can actually change how much depth and how many channels you get for specific headsets. Now it's still using Pulse. Yeah, try out Pipe. Go through. Yeah, I love this music. That's why I have a headset on, just so I can listen to music. So good. Best way to recover drives and files in Linux. GUI option, please. Probably, I think Parted Magic has a bunch of GUI tools and a nice recovery environment that you could probably do that fairly simply. Pretty sure. This is installing KDE. This theme, I think, is... I'm a big fan of Nordic theme, which is what's installed on here in the background. What Linux do you use? Typically Arch or Debian. I'm a purist. Everything's made from Arch and Debian for the most part, so those are the ones I usually rock. But there's times I have regular distros installed too. Like my Kubuntu laptop, I still have Kubuntu on that. Mainly because there's special repositories from the makers of it for Kubuntu specifically. So it wouldn't make much sense to install a different distro on it. It would kind of like ruin a lot of the customizations and the repos that they give, which are pretty powerful. So that's why I'm like, I'll just rock it. Nothing wrong with that. Once you find something that works, just stick with it. And then figure out, like, that's what I say, is once you find something that kind of suits your needs starting off, whatever it is, stick with it, and then figure out what you don't like, and then figure out ways to customize it to overcome that challenge. There's very few challenges you can't overcome. Some of them just are a little more cumbersome to get through. Yeah, this is basically... I want to be able to have people run this. I want to be able to have a noob, completely noob, like a Windows user or a Mac user or whoever. I want them to be able to take this and just run it. They're going to feel like freaking an amazing hacker or whatever after running this and seeing all this go through and then having a perfect desktop. That's the end goal. Yeah, the last time I streamed on Twitch would have been... It's been a long time now, I think. What, 3 months? Something like that? I just said, forget it. I'm just going to move everything to YouTube or YouTube channels. What DE do you normally use with Debian or Arch? Usually KDE. I'm a big fan of KDE. Although, I'm starting to kind of get that itch for a window manager again. Sometimes once you get that window manager configured just right, it can be so awesome. So, yeah, we'll probably get there. Command line spam equals hacker. It's universal. It's a universal language right there. Yeah, there's a bunch of GUI tools in Parted Magic from that live USB that can recover files, reset Windows passwords, repartition drives. There's a lot of stuff in Parted Magic, which is pretty good. I know it's like $8 or something. I think I have an affiliate link somewhere. I can't remember what I did with it though. But I think it's just like partedmagic.com or something. Will you run the Windows 10 gaming script on this one? So the gaming script I'm slowly integrating parts of it into the actual install. So there's no reason to run the gaming script after I'm finished. There's parts that I'm picking out, kind of testing the waters in here, specifically the driver portion. Right now, I don't know if I'm going to use TKG or not. Probably use TKG though. Oh, did you see Alacrity scroll by there? I think I'm using Kitty on this install. Yeah, I think YouTube has a better viewing experience for many, and it's really easy for me. So I never really built up Twitch. I think I have like maybe like 7,000, 8,000 follows on Twitch. So I mean, there's a good bit over there, but I don't know, just kind of trying this out. I thought, hey, well, let's give YouTube streaming a try. How bad could it be? We'll see. All right, yeah. Now we're into the user section of the script. We were just inserting the password. One thing I will say about the script, don't mess up the password. I was doing it last night for like the billionth time, and I messed up the password insert, and man, was that bad. It did not work out well for me, because the script just continues if the password's wrong. So I need to do an error trap on there. Hey, Jennifer's in chat. Good to see you, Jennifer. Oh, yeah, the Alacrity config. Oh, man, that was such a hot dumpster fire of a mess that was. Oh. You can stream to YouTube and Twitch at the same time, no? I mean, technically, yeah, you could do a multi-stream, but what's the objective? The whole reason for streaming is to talk with chat. And, all right, you guys know I'm pretty bad about following chat. Like, right now, I'm okay, because we have an automated script just running and doing everything in the background, and I can just watch chat. Could you imagine me multi-streaming, getting, I mean, what, maybe 50 to 100 users on Twitch, and then maybe another 100, 200 users over here? Could you imagine me trying to follow chat in both places? It would be the biggest train wreck you'd have ever seen, because I'd be trying to chat with Twitch and YouTube at the same time, and it'd just be a nightmare. That's why I don't multi-stream. Oh, good, Sasquatch. Just signed up for a yearly at the website. Awesome, man. Appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for the support. What's your take on the Twitch hack or Epic hack? I mean, like I said, it's fine. I wouldn't worried about it. But then again, I'm not like a big time Twitch streamer. What I think is probably the funniest thing about that whole hack, like the thing that just like puts a smile on my face. Most people don't really care. Like even the big guys that got their income leaked, I think most of them were joking about the whole deal. But there's a couple like Twitch streamers in there that were like hitting their audience up, going, "I'm so poor, please donate," you know, donation begging, I guess is what they call it. and then their income got all leaked. It's going to be a heck of a hard time to milk your audience in that psychological manipulation when your audience knows exactly how much you've been pulling in for the last couple of years. So a couple of them, a couple people I think is probably hilarious, but most of the big guys don't really care. Like any of the top dogs on Twitch, I think they're like whatever. And some of them are even over here now. So is Katie less broken now? Yeah, I'd say so. Katie's been pretty stable for me. I've really enjoyed it. Are you going to go get a Steam Deck? Yes, the Steam Deck is on order, and I'll get it sometime next year. Unless somehow I be able to cut in front of the line. Get YouTube privilege, but I don't think I'm big enough for that. So I'll probably be making like a weird summer video in 2022 about the Steam Deck, and people have probably long forgotten about it or moved on. So here was the Lightly download that we were having problems with yesterday. It's much better that you can see a progress bar and you're not just sitting there waiting for the output like we were yesterday. Chat, it can go through two channels like what you see. Sometimes I like to put chat on there for just folks to watch in, like, let's say I do a clip or something like that. But I don't know. What's everybody's take on that? I could just move and get rid of chat on the screen. I guess because of chat replay and I don't really edit any of the VODs after it's done. We should do a poll. That's a good question. Because I'm still working on like the layout. I just kind of put together something and I was like, okay, this seems okay. Let me come over to here and let's do a poll real quick. And pause. Chat on the video. Or rely on YouTube replay. Here we go. So, chat on video. No chat on video. Sidebar only. Here we go. You guys make the decision. Yeah, there is the TV. There's a couple little nice features of having it. I mean, you can make a case for either one. So I leave it to the community to decide. You all have the power now. Unless it goes 50-50, and then I guess I'm the tiebreaker. See, the one thing about I did live stream on YouTube back in like 2019, back on the old system, and then they added the new system, which was kind of a jarring experience. And every single it's every 3 or 4 months they like roll in a little new feature. It might be something small like emotes or memberships was I think last year, and then this. I don't know when this happened, but this poll is now there, which is nice. I love asking people, what do you think? And then having it built into the actual system itself. I think that's awesome. Wow. I think there's like a bias here of people that are just like, I want to go for the underdog. Because out of a lot of the polls I take, many of them end up being so close that you're just like, I don't know what to choose. Like this is crazy. 49% says chat on video. 51% says sidebar only. Oh my gosh, it's 50-50. What? Yeah, what? We are almost up to the entire concurrent viewers on the votes. That's nuts. How long's the install been running? Probably like, I don't know, 15 minutes, would you say, guys? 15, 20 minutes. The lightly download takes a long time. What I'll probably end up doing is making like an ISO with all these repositories and everything kind of like baked in, so you can do a direct install and put that on the website. But, you know, if you want to just use the script as it's meant to be used, it'll just download from the official sources. Just takes a little longer for the download. All right. We're coming to the end here. We're going to go to 140 votes, and then we're locking it in. One more vote. And we may not have another vote, actually. There's only 140 viewers. And now, oh, there it is. Bam. In poll. Chat. Not overwhelmingly. Closer than I thought. But many people say no chat on the video, which means we got to take it off. Here we go. Well, we don't have to, but I'm gonna. I like to honor the poll. How are we looking over here? Mango HUD build. And this is everything I use on my install, by the way. So let's go minimal. And then what we're going to do, chat widget, boosh. And I'm going to take this guy, put that down right about there. Save that out. Kaboosh. Like it. And here we go. We're getting close to the end here. We only got a couple more things. I do have quite a bit of... Some of these I probably could drop. Like the Nerd Fonts Fire Coda, I probably could drop. But I really like that font class. Rocky Linux build? Yeah. I need to do a Rocky Linux build. Because I feel like a lot of the Fedora and RHEL people probably hate me because I don't really mention them very much. But Rocky Linux is a RHEL spin, and oh, I love it. For servers, if I wanted to set up like a file server, no question, hands down, Rocky Linux. If I wanted to do any kind of server through a certain Linux environment, and I want to just let it run for like a decade, Rocky Linux. I love me some Rocky Linux from a server perspective. Desktop, I mean, the packages are so old, I would get bored real quick. That's the one downside. The boredom would set in pretty quick because everything's about 2 years old. But it's stable. That's really, really stable. Yeah, bigger terminal is better. I love some big terminals. I had someone email me afterwards like, hey, can you make it look bigger? So I'm going to write scripts for every time doing it and then just commit those. So anytime I'm working in terminal, you guys can see what's going on. And honestly, even when I wasn't live streaming, I like the bigger text. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old. But I do like the big, bright text. It makes the install fun. And it scrolls more. Bigger hacker. It's awesome. Hacking level increases with bigger fonts and more colors. It's just a fact. All right, here we go. Do KDE. All right. So it installed everything. What was that, like 20, 25 minutes probably? Whoa, wait, no, it says right here. It was... I guess that's 400 seconds. It seemed like it took longer than that, wasn't it? Oh, no. It says over here on the total. So about 30 minutes. And this has every package I've ever used, and I forgot to take out the ISO. My bad. Force off. Let's take that CD-ROM out. Pop out that thumb drive. See if we get a boot into our desktop with a user and everything. I'm wondering, though. Oh, yeah. There it is. Should have all our customizations in. Beautiful. Couple things. The SDDM theme wasn't there. That was interesting. But if we look over here, we could easily set that too. Where is that? Startup shutdown? Startup shutdown. Nordic apply. So that's one thing I can build into the script. But the rest is pretty much done. All my hotkeys are there. You got the theming. All that works. If I want to launch Brave, I can do a hotkey for Brave, which is just Meta or Windows key and B. All of our Dolphin customizations are there too, which is pretty nice. We got all that. Very, very clean. I never did set like the background. Backgrounds are so personal that I'm almost like, do I even bother? So yes, there was the script. We just run it. We answered like what, 4 or 5 questions, pretty minimal. What I could do is front load all those questions and then feed it into the script as it's running. That way it can be a little more automated, a little more hands off. Just go make yourself a sandwich, have a drink, and then come back and just have everything's right there. And then fixing the SDDM theme. But this is what we've worked on for all this past week. I've probably put in 30-something hours or so. So that was this project, and I will make a video about that, and that'll be fun. So if you're interested in this, I will make a YouTube video going over it, and we'll have a good time, to say the least. Have you ever used Neth server? I have not. I have not used Neth server Linux. Sounds interesting. Oh, put the link to the GitHub. Yeah. I got you. Let me pull up. Did I close my... I closed my live stream feed for chatting. No, boy, no. Here we go. So that is the automated script. Here is the GitHub for it if you want to do it. I will be making a new GitHub once I finish it and completely polish it, and then we'll do it. Archmatic. But that was the whole script run, start to finish. Very, very little intervention needed. And I did that on purpose. So very, very cool. Julio, thanks for the super chat. Sorry I'm late. What are we doing? Just kind of talking about different projects, the news of the days, that type of thing. Anything's on the table. Just kind of checking with chat. And a lot of people wanted to see kind of like the final product of our past live streams. So just showed that off. Worked surprisingly well. Couple little things, that SDDM theme we could do better with. And then what else was there? Maybe front load some of the questions, so you're not having to check in with the script after it's been running for 10 minutes to be like, oh, what do I want my user to be? Those types of things. So, but All my packages, everything loaded up great. How to update to Plasma 5.23. If you're on Debian Spin, you wait it out. You'll probably be like a month or two, and you'll get it. I don't recommend ever doing like PPAs or repositories to update KDE manually through Debian. I've had bad experiences with that, so be careful. But can it run Crisis? Probably. We can try it out. What do you think of the Framework laptop? Right to repair is an amazing, amazing thing. I am huge on the ability to repair any electronic or really anything in general. Right to repair is a lost art. And humble brag here, I would say I try to instill that on my kids. And the other day, my son, he has an old laptop, like maybe he has one that's a little older, like I'd say probably 6 years old, and he busted the hinge. It was an Asus laptop, but they nested the where the screws go in below the screen into plastic, and that got busted. And it wasn't like, hey, Dad, I want to buy this. I was like, all right, let's take it apart. Let's find the part we need, and then we'll eBay it. And then, sure enough, that's exactly what he wanted to do too. So it was nice. Put a smile on my face. But anything to improve the right to repair, I'm for. So I love the idea of the Framework laptop. Oh yes, we do need a new NeoFetch skin. Thank you, son, for sure. Titus OS incoming. I think I'll just call the script Arch Titus or whatever it might be, or Debian Titus, and then just let everyone else do that. I think the fun thing here is not you using my distro, but you grabbing my script and making your own distro. I think that's where I kind of want to differentiate. That's what I want. And also making things easier, because I want you to grab every package that you have, put it all in that script, fork the script, put everything in there how you like it, and then you have your own, hey, go. And then it just reloads whatever computer it is with your preferences. That's hard to do in Windows. And now you can do it in Linux. Yes, all the videos are saved on the channel page. If you click my name, go to the channel page, which actually I'll show real quick. Navigating YouTube can be a little cumbersome sometimes. But if you're like, let's say you're watching this stream now, if you just click my name, it'll take you to my channel page. And if you scroll down right here in live streams, you'll see all the live streams right here. And all these you can go back through, watch if you want, and kind of see how it all works, which is fun. Why does Arch feel so difficult at times? I think it's because it's a little more terminal heavy than a lot of other distributions. So that if you're not real comfortable with the terminal, a lot of times it can be a little bit more difficult. But the thing I'd say is it has some of the best documentation out there. So check the Arch Wiki. A lot of times when I'm in Debian and I run into a problem, I actually go check the Arch Wiki, because a lot of the syntax might change a little bit, but for the most part, it'll be there, which is great. Don't VODs hurt you in the YouTube algo? If they're public. But I can leave them in a private status or an unlisted status, and I don't get much. And then usually after about a month, I put them to members only, because typically no one's going to watch a month or two old VOD. So I'll put that into a members only group, and that kind of gives a little more, incentive for those that are members. And then also kind of cleans up the feed a bit to where it's real clean. So you always know where to go if you want to watch a Chris Titus live stream. But yeah, I do love this, and just kind of on my day-to-day and kind of keeping with improving everything and getting projects and things. I think having the live streams on a more consistent basis, like the schedule I put up was just so I can say, hey, this is the project I'm working on. I can get real-time feedback for a YouTube video, because the YouTube videos are obviously where everyone's going to watch. So that's the cool thing. That's a cool thing, and I can get a lot of live feedback, like con save. That came from chat. A random chat person was just like, hey, you should check out con save. It's way easier. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it is. This is amazing. So you can find all kinds of really cool projects. Everyone that does Linux usually has its own knowledge set that helps, which is great. Did you see that Linus chose LTT, chose Manjaro KDE for his Linux challenge? I did. I think that'll be all right. Manjaro's come quite a ways too. I love the fact he's not taking any privilege. He's just doing it as a user. I even made a comment on one of his videos. I was like, dude, hats off to you, hat tip, because that's amazing to have someone with that much influence that could easily have a lot better time, but choosing not to do that to give the Windows users and everybody else out there the real world Linux experience. And I think that's amazing. And then he's going to get completely flamed and trolled to death for it. But I totally approve of his approach. I think it's amazing. Oh, thanks, Lance. Really admire your work ethic and how you put in this to grow this fast and have cool projects. I didn't like where my life was going, man. I was like, you know what? Let's do something different. So I kind of threw up a whole bunch of stuff and just kind of saw what stuck and then went with it. I always tell people success comes from failure. Always learn to fail. Alan, thanks for the super chat. What brand is your headphones? This is a Sennheiser. What are these? Sennheiser. What brand of headphones are? I know the Sennheiser, but the HDR 175 wireless headset. They actually sound pretty good. I really dig these headphones. They're very cozy and comfy, to where I actually like just kind of listen to the background music while I talk. Yeah, eventually we might have some kind of crossover. I'd be down for it. Did you say creative sound cards and software with features like EAX, Crystallizer, and Linux? Yeah. So this is an interesting deal. I think I have the package. Where is it? No, it's inside. So this is kind of crazy. Here's another thing, future project that I'm working on, and I'm really excited about it. But you guys remember sound cards, right? That comment jogs my memory. By the way, I don't think EAX and a lot of that sound card or Sound Blaster stuff works in Linux. But most people don't use sound cards in general. They'd much rather use like a USB DAC because of noise and other stuff. And it also has like a really high noise floor. So you usually get like a little static when you get headphones on. You can crank up the volume, and if you have dead silence, you hear that kind of noise floor. But it's not the sound card's fault. And I'm going to say this, I think Sound Blaster sucks. Furthermore, I think a lot of sound cards just plain suck, but they don't have to be. And let me see if I can't pull up my recent purchase. And I bought a sound card, but I bought like a modular sound card. Let me get the exact thing, as long as it doesn't show my address. That would be bad. I've doxed myself I don't know how many times on live stream. I'm like infamous for it. It couldn't be worse that time when I gave out my password. Let's see, where is sound card? I'm gonna pull this up so you guys can see this. Sound card. Nope, that wasn't it. Sound card and orders. Because this is, here it is HT Omega Phoenix PCI sound card. Let me pull it up here. Here we go. Boom. This guy right here, it's very interesting what you can do. And let me see if I can't zoom in on it. I can't zoom in. But you can kind of see it right here. There are these little microchips right here and here. And that is basically what gives a lot of the feedback on a lot of these ports. And these microchips are really cheap and really crappy. But I was reading through the Amazon comments, and one stuck out at me when I was looking at a review. And let me see if I can't find it. It also has an optical in port, so that's why I grabbed it. But there's something in here that was just nuts. It was the op amps. How was the op amps for these cards? They're garbage. But you can actually upgrade those op amps with... No, where is it? It was in here. But anyways, I got on eBay, grabbed some new op amps, and I ended up going with this one. The op amp, and that's the comment right there. This right here is about a $20 op amp, and I grabbed a couple of them to upgrade that sound card. Ooh, it's perfect. It sounds like a $1,000 card that's in there, and the op amp is amazing. So that's what I did. But like the op amp that comes with it is like this, $1 POS, and it has a really crappy noise floor, and this fixes it really well. It's just dead silence when I stop talking. It's almost deafening, actually. Yeah, so anyways, that's small rant, but so cool. So if you're into sound cards and you want some really clean sound, instead of spending I think it's like $300 for, I think ASUS makes one that's more of this. Get this guy, spend another $20, $30 on those op amps and upgrade those, and oh man, you'll be just jamming out on your headset and it'll just be crystal clear. And this is actually, I got the box and I was a little worried. It said it was Windows XP compatible. I was like, oh no, that's terrible. I was like, so it's a very old hardware, but it still works good, man. No, I was so happy. I was so happy that worked out. I'll need to make a YouTube video about it. So are you going to get a framework laptop to support them? Maybe. It just depends on what the budget looks like. I live pretty low budget on a lot of my stuff. Usually, I don't do very many reviews. Occasionally I will, but my last laptop review was the K-Focus back in December, and that was just because I was like, hey, this is an amazing laptop. I want to use this. And that's most laptops I hate, but that one had 16 threads, 64 gigs of memory, 2080 Super. I mean, it's more powerful than most of my desktops. So that's what I was like, yes, please. So that's why I make the occasional exception if I see something amazing that I want to use and that I will use, then I will. But I just, yeah, we'll see about the framework. If it's in the budget, I'll definitely do it. Have you ever tried Bedrock Linux? Yes, I've actually deleted all my videos that I made over Bedrock Linux per my discussion with the developer. Let's just say those videos were overly negative, and anytime you searched Google for Bedrock Linux, it would just show my videos about Bedrock Linux, which, again, I did not have a great experience. And it was causing him and people not to try his distro. And Bedrock is a very unique distro, one that I don't recommend, and personally I don't like. But for some folks, there's a really cool idea about it. So I get it. I get why people use it, and I don't want to discourage anybody from using Bedrock. But I won't use Bedrock Linux. There's just no. I'd rather walk over hot coals. Let's move on. Let's move on before I say something. Please make a video or suggest how to start an IT support business. ideas, service-based troubleshooting, Windows 10. Thanks, love from India. I will say supporting traditional support's very difficult to do in the computer realm, especially from a residential level, because you have to spend a lot of time and there's really just not much money in it. And I think it may work in other countries, but here in the States, I'm trying not to sound terrible here. I don't have the greatest way with words, but it's easier to just throw the computer away than what I charge to repair a computer. If I usually am going to repair a computer, I usually just do it for free, or just, tell them, hey, pay it forward kind of thing. Because the supporting of a computer, it has to be, you can buy a new computer for $300-$400, maybe not anymore with the microchip shortage, but typically they're pretty darn cheap. And I don't feel comfortable charging someone my hourly rate, which would exceed the cost of a new computer, when they could just go buy a new computer and fix the problem. So I'm probably not the best person to ask on that for the support aspect, because a lot of times if I'm getting paid like contract work to do something, it'll be something a bit bigger. But that's also why I don't really accept any money or do any support work, because most of it would be more server related. But support business is very difficult to do. It's a hard business model, and I think it was a lot of Linux folks I don't think understand. Like Red Hat or RHEL is also considered, Red Hat Enterprise Linux is considered one of the biggest success stories in Linux, and it's there because it does charge that support fee, but my issue with that is they have nowhere to go. They have nowhere to scale with that support, because they have to hire more people, which means more overhead, to support any onboarding that they do. Otherwise, they'll have poor support, and that's paid support. And it's just a very wonky business model that I don't think works. I know Red Hat's been doing it forever, and I love that they do that, but I really just don't think that's a viable long-term business strategy. That's not what many people want to hear. So I'm not making a video about that, that's for sure. Because, man, I can only imagine the hate comments I get from that. Yeah, no soldering tool, by the way, on that sound card. No, that was just pop it out, pop in the new chip. Is Turtle Beach still around? Turtle Beach, I think is, but they are... I've never heard of anybody refer to Turtle Beach and Audio Elite in the same sentence. That wasn't trying to sell the headphones. I mean, I've had a couple run-ins with some Turtle Beach stuff. None of it good. We'll leave it at that. I bet a Next Dock. Oh man, I love the Next Dock. Those are cool. I hate Samsung, but that's cool. I love the idea of like the Samsung decks as well. What's your opinion after using both standalone window managers and DEs? Window manager's worth it. It depends on the user. If you are highly customized and spend the time to curate your own window manager, which can take months, once you get everything dialed in and you have all your configs and you upload that to Git and you have the perfect system. Window managers are freaking cool. Like really, really cool and powerful. But, and it's a big but, do you really want to spend all that time configuring all that stuff? Most people don't. But once you do it, it's hard to go back. So yes, I do miss my window manager on occasion. I still love Awesome Window Manager because that was my first window manager. It's like my It's like my first love. You always remember your first love, and that was awesome window manager for me. Are there any Linux admin jobs, or is it servers in Linux? That's a good question. I get asked that a lot. Hey, what do you do for Linux server admin stuff? I'm not a Linux server admin. I'm actually a Windows server admin is what my specialty is. I have like 11 different Windows certifications between, I don't know. I think my first one was an XP. I had Vista in there somewhere. I'm certified Vista. Watch out. Some SBS, Essential Business Server, which was like a shortly lived, like in between SBS and Enterprise. And then I have my MCITP from 2008, which is an enterprise administrator with 5 or 6 different certs. And I'll tell you this much. Linux is much more prevalent in the desktop space. So like, or I would say in the server space, like when you're looking at a lot of things in data centers are all Linux based, but very rarely will you run into someone that says, hey, I need a Linux server admin. They'll say, hey, I need someone that knows Linux, but also knows Active Directory, and then also knows how to work in like a Citrix environment or those. It's a combination of all these different certs. You need to have more well-rounded, a jack of all trades, so to speak, to really survive in the upper echelons, or at least be able to really understand it. The other big thing I see a lot is some people don't know networking really well. I'd say learn networking at least enough to understand like subnetting and those types of things. You got to know that. You absolutely have to know that as well. You need a combination of all those skills to make it, because someone that just knows Linux, I mean, there's some utility there, but not much. I'd much rather have someone that has a little bit of knowledge in all 4 of the things I just talked about, and then be able to build out those specific things. So don't ever think you're just going to get that or run into that. You just don't see that in business. So learn all of it. Definitely learn Linux, though. Linux is very, very big in networking and the server realm. Do you know some programming languages? I used to. Used to be real big with C++, BASIC, some old ones. I wish I was more proficient in Python. I think Python, if I was going to learn a programming language today, I know Python would be like my top pick. And I mean, I've done a lot of scripting with PowerShell and other programming. You can't really call that programming languages. It's like more scripting, but I'm more in that realm. I'm really good with scripts. What do you use to calibrate the display? Usually I just use an Xorg file. I'm a big, just naturally throw it in there, and then you never even have to worry about the display. But for a new user, just get like KDE or GNOME. They have their built-in calibration tools, which are pretty good. Right, yeah, you can build out pretty much a desktop environment with a window manager. You just pick all the pieces. That's a good point, Kyle. Well, I mean, it just depends on if you're comfortable with Windows, that's fine. A lot of people are comfortable and they don't want to change what they're doing. And some things in Linux are harder than Windows, and that's difficult, especially for a new user. So I get why Linux has like 1 or 2% adoption and why Windows has like 80. Actually, I think it's in the 70s now. Mac has been on a tear. Like Mac is approaching 20% adoption. I think something like that. I know it's in the double digits now, which is wild. 10 years ago, I think Macs had 3 or 4% adoption, something like that. It's pretty low. So you talk about adoption, Mac has been killing it. Work on Veeam. Veeam's awesome. Yeah, this is one of the best backup programs out there. Love it. I'd start off with like Network Plus and Security Plus. Both those are good basis tools for any IT person out there. I think you can't go wrong with either. There's a lot of crosstalk between pretty much every vertical in IT, and there's a lot of demand for people that understand networking and security. IT security is one of the few fields that I think is drastically increasing, and that's coming from me, which is an infrastructure guy. You talk about a dying field. Yikes. You don't really need someone like me anymore to do rack and stack when you got cloud services and everything where you just go, I would like 10 servers, and you know what? We only want to spin those up for 4 hours during this period, and then the rest will leave on for 8 hours, and then maybe have a couple for those Nighthawks that are just stay up. But I mean, it's just like, yeah. IT is an interesting field. It's definitely changing. And how I started and how I got into it, I think, is probably not valid anymore. Hate to say. Or very, let's just say it's a lot more of a narrow entry point than when I came up. Is Fedora there's no best distro for a laptop, I would say. I mean, you could use Fedora, you could use Debian, you could use a lot of things. For laptops, I typically stay away from Arch-based systems just because if you're not using that laptop on like a daily or weekly basis, sometimes it could like sit somewhere for like a month or two. And Arch is notorious for like breaking the update, or at least a lot of the keying and the key server when it sits dormant, not updated for months at a time. So be careful with that. I would say anything's possible with Linux and laptops. It's just be careful with your Arch-based distros when it comes to laptops if you're not going to use it and update it very often. JavaScript, CSS, HTML. I mean, yeah. I mean, not big on a lot of that. I know CSS and HTML pretty well. Java, meh, a little bit here and there, but I don't know. I'm a big fan of, like, when I was doing like the Hugo website with Netlify. I think a lot of websites will be built in a static realm again, which you do need HTML and CSS. Not to discount that, it's still very useful. JavaScript less so. I think JavaScript's on the decline. I could be completely wrong on that, though. Don't quote me. Blow my mind. Look at those blue graphics. Listen to the background music. Your mind should be blown. Oh, don't feed the trolls. Yeah, cloud infrastructure engineer, nightmare, but my best friend. Yeah, cloud infrastructure engineer, that's a really good vertical to be in. You'll go far. Output my NeoFetch? Yeah, here you go. Let's decrease that. Here you go. I need to fix this terminal, by the way. Get rid of Terminator. We're going full kitty. Opinion of SVP Smooth Video Project. What is that? What is that? I've never even heard of it. Real-time video. The archaic 24 frames per second movie standard. I agree. There's something that's still the whole cinematic 24 frames. I think it's dead on YouTube. Like I don't know very many people that do 24 frames per second, other than like folks that want to watch how much space they're spitting up. Like when I hit record on a 24 frames per second, it's obviously only capturing 24 frames, which is a lot less intensive for the storage. But yeah, SVP converts any video to 60 FPS or higher and performs it in real time. That's cool. I personally rock 30 frames, but more power to you. Huh. I'm going to save that. I'll come back to it. I want to see how that actually plays. 60 frames isn't necessarily better in every circumstance. Specifically, like if you ever turn on a lot of the high-end TVs have like realism mode where they up the FPS, it makes it feel weird. Like soap operas and stuff ends up like, I don't know, just strange. Just my 2 cents. So 60 frames is good for a lot of things, but not for everything. Yeah, TKG is good. Zanmount's also very good, Joseph. You're saying that you're using that since 5.14. Looking to get into high input data transfer. What should I start studying? Probably multipathing, link aggregation. A lot of this ends up more in the networking realm for a lot of it, but yeah, iSCSI and in NTP, or not NTP, NFS, sorry. I would say those are the big things. Understand all those protocols I just listed. And if you understand them and you're able to do multipathing with link aggregation, you're going to be able to really set up some amazing systems. Most people really screw up multipathing and link aggregation like bad. It's a very, very common occurrence in data centers to see networking engineers screw the pooch, so to speak, with a lot of high data transfers. Like, I don't even know if I've ever even seen a YouTube video that does it right. I know I don't even think I could do it justice. I would say probably some of the smartest people I've run into when it comes to high data speeds. A lot of the EMC people are freaking geniuses, wizards. It's magic. A lot of those guys really know their stuff. So I would try to get in with EMC after understanding that, because a lot of their stuff is it's amazing. You'll see data speeds that blow away any YouTube video you'll ever see. How do you backup settings configure if you break distro so often? Good question. In Windows, I usually just use... Here, we'll go desktop again. In Windows, I usually just use a... Oh, man. What is it? Synology Backup Assist. It's actually pretty good. It's baked right into my Synology box, and it has a little agent that runs pretty easily. On Linux, though, I usually use Time Shift, which... Did I even set up Time Shift on this guy? I don't know if I did. Let's see. Usually I do BetterFS. Refresh. Oh, I don't think I set up BetterFS right. But I usually just wipe my system out. A lot of my Linux installs. Well, you know what? We could do something fun here. Because this is how a lot of people install BetterFS. We could fix this. That'd be a fun project. What time is it? 2:50? But you can always set up a time shift with like rsync if you don't have a proper BetterFS install, which I have BetterFS, I think, on here, right? Let me look. Sudo blkid. What do we have? I think this one is NVMe in1p1. NVMe. Here it is right here. What file system is this? Oh, it is BetterFS. Oh, you know what? Here's a broken BetterFS install. We could fix this. BetterFS. Oh, what is it? File system and show. Oops. Let's switch to super user here. File system, show. So this is what we have right now. And what's the usage? File system usage. Shows that, but I think, I can't remember. I'll have to pull up my article. What do we have? I think I made a little BetterFS article here. It shows BetterFS file system show. That's what we just ran. There's a way sub volume list. That's what I was looking for. I was like, what was that? So if we go BetterFS sub v show list, sorry. Well, list. Okay. Oh, yeah. So I completely borked this install. So what we need to do is create a snapshot and then point everything to that sub volume with at a attribute, I think. Yeah, I'll check my Twitter DMs after this. Let's see, are we missing anything else here? Yeah, all right, let's break this install. I always like to at least try to break an install on every stream. So right here, this is a person that installed BetterFS. The person, I mean me. And I did not make a sub volume, which is a terrible thing. I just installed everything in the root, which is, again, that sucks. So we need to do a snapshot, which I think, what do we got? Sub volume. And I think we can create, and then we just create it at the at. Oops. Nope. Let's delete that real fast. Delete at. All right. Instead, we just create at. All right. So that's our sub volume. And now we want to look at that. If we just go, I think we can just mount that. Just do a list again. Now you can see we have sub volume ID 451, and you can see where that it is. For some odd reason, it put it in home Titus. Oh crap! I should have put that on the root of the drive. Let's delete it again. All right, let's switch to the root. I like to put all the sub volumes in the root here. So let's create it one more time with feeling. Sub volume list. And now you can see 452 is this one. And if we go into and just do a mount option, and I believe we can just do sub vol equals /@ and mount that to MNT. But it's not going to allow that because it's not an fstab. So we can fix fstab real quick. And we'll take a look. So here is the current one. It's mounting sub volume root, which that's garbage. we could probably do a temporary mount, but we actually want to mount this as 452. 452. 452. Subvolume name is going to be @ like that. But we do need to do a temporary mount. Probably shouldn't do this in a live environment. That would be a mistake. All right, let's just go into... I think I have Arch on my thing. Let's reboot. Sudo reboot. Yeah. Let's just reboot force. When you say with feeling, are you quoting Bruce Lee? Evan Kim? I don't know. I have no idea who I would be quoting on that. I guess I just picked it up. All right, let's grab. This is just a live installation media, just stock Arch. And what we're going to do is mount that install. So let's do lsbok. We can see it's probably going to be that NVMe, but if you're unsure, you can always do a BOKID, kind of find exactly what it is you're looking for by kind of listing out the drives. We can see this one right here. Oh, we can't see crap, can we? Well, we just did Terminus fonts. Let's make the fonts bigger, right? Oh, Terminus fonts isn't there. Terminus font, I think, is what it was. Yeah, that was it. So now if we just go set font, ter v24b, please. Yeah, now you guys can see. All right, so now we're in our live environment. lsbok. This kind of lists our drives. BOKID kind of gives us a little more context to what's in each drive. And we need, you can see I got a couple, Microsoft partitions, a couple other Linux installs. We got a little bit of everything in this computer. But we're going to mount probably dev. Actually, I think let's just look at the help for mount. I want to say the options list that we need. Yeah, we'll just do a mount. Options subvol equals /a. And then we need to do the source device, which is dev. I should have left the BOK up. Darn it. Yeah. Now we can do mount options subvol equals /a. Then the device, which would be NVMe1 N1P1. And I can tell that's the device because it says part label is Arch, type is BetterFS. If you see NTFS, that usually means it's going to be Windows, of course. If you see FAT or VFAT, usually that's like an EFI partition. So be careful about wiping out that. That's where most of your boot is stored. And then we're going to mount this into MNT. No such luck. So let's do BetterFS file system show. And I think we can just do a dev NVMe1 N1P1. All right, let's mount this and see what we get. We're not going to mount the subvolume. We're going to just try and mount the device. I can't remember if that would work or not. but let's see. It looks like that will work. So now we can have access to the at subvolume. It should say in here, BetterFS, file system, show. Usually there's another file system with a label on it, but it doesn't say it. Oh, no, it's a subvolume. I'm thinking of that. So if we go subvolume list, it should show everything. Yeah. So those are our subvolumes, and we just want to make sure it's pointed at the proper subvolume. So if we go into cd at, and I think that's not properly snapshotted yet. So what we need to do is snapshot our current volume into that at symbol. And I don't know the command, and we can't really check because, well, we're in here. But I want to say there is a snapshot command. And I think it's under file system. No. Must be subvol. Create snapshot. So snapshot. And then we're going to do, I think we can snapshot root. Can't remember if that was, nah. I'm going to delete that subvolume. Let's start over from scratch. Subvolume, delete. And let's just delete that. And if we go to snapshot that again, 2 arguments expected, 1 giving. So usually you snapshot that. And I want to say we can just do an at symbol for the second one. No. No, yeah, so it's just getting the files out of this to the other system is really what I'm trying to do here. Usually what you would do is you create your subvolume and then you install the OS onto the subvolume. But since I didn't do that, and I installed it on the root, it makes this a little more tricky. So there's one way to do this. This is super dangerous, but so don't try this at home. This is probably going to wipe out my system. But what we can do is create a new subvolume. Let's just say we create at. So this creates a new subvolume. But if we look on the drive, we have all of that stuff. And I want to say I can just move all of that into the at, which that's probably not the way to do it. Or we could just copy everything. Recursive force, and then let's say we just copy all of MNT into MNT at, which I don't know if it's going to allow me to do that, just because that asterisk would select the at folder as well. But we can try it. No, you wouldn't want to use a symlink for this, because we'd want to put those actual files. So that might work. Let's see what happens. Once we get all these files in the subvolume, then we can do snapshots, and it opens up a whole world of possibilities. It just, a lot of folks, myself included, I think I use an ArchFi for this particular install. And when I was using ArchFi, it installed it on the root level of BetterFS, which is pretty much worthless. But like I said, we'll see. Yeah, it's still copying. Yeah, it's still copying back there. It's going crazy. And then the idea is once everything is copied over to that, we can just wipe this entire root level out and then subvolumes there. But before we do that, I'd want to get into the system, do a proper backup with the subvolume. Yeah, the easy way to do backups is just ext4 with rsync. It's just not the fastest. The way why this BetterFS would be better is all those snapshots are done, I think it's called atomic swaps, and it's just almost immediate. So anytime you run into a problem, you would just go ahead and move that over. And the restore process would be a split second. So you just go, oh, I broke my system. Oh, what was the last snapshot I did on my subvolume in BetterFS? And you'd be like, oh, it was an hour ago. Because the subvolumes, not only do they restore really fast, but they back up extremely fast too. Again, usually less than like a second. And you can just, oh, no problem. And just roll back 1 hour to what that snapshot was. And you can specify how often you want those snapshots done. It makes things so easy. It just a little time consuming here. It only changes, yeah, for the file system. It's not meant for like a recovery type scenario. This is meant for, hey, I broke something in my file system, therefore I want to restore my file system to how it was. If your hard drive's going bad, yeah, BetterFS isn't going to do anything for you on the snapshots. Use Snapper in the Snapper GUI. Snapper might be better. I think that's snapshots. I'll have to check that out. I haven't never used Snapper. I've always used Timeshift. Timeshift is a little particular because it requires your subvolume to be the @ symbol for the home. But you can also have different subvolumes. So like, let's say I wanted to split up my home directory and do snapshots every hour on my home directory, but I only wanted to do snapshots every day on the whole system itself. You could actually do another subvolume and call that /home, and then move all your home files into it. And yeah, it'd work out pretty well. But it's a badly misunderstood file system. Like BetterFS, the power of it is within the snapshots, the subvolumes. A lot of that is really where I love BetterFS, but it's like I said, a lot of people do the install, or a lot of distributions do the install on the root level, which is very disappointing. As you see right here, I don't even know if this is going to work. I should have probably done like a PV and pipe this into a progress bar of some sort, because I think we're copying pretty much everything on the system. Which, that brings us to a good point. I'm going to leave it right here, and I'm going to be right back. I got to take a little quick break. 1 second, guys. What we got? Did that finish? Nope, still not finished. That might be fill on my drive. That's not good. Not good at all. Oh, man. Alrighty. Oh no, what'd I miss? Patience. Alrighty, what do we got? Oh, you know what? Got to turn on my overhead light. Oops. Yeah, so the whole system's like 50 gigs or so. So let's cancel this. Yeah. Let's see what this did. Yes. Let's just do a yay s ncdu. Oops, not yay. Pac-Man s ncdu. Let's see what this did. I think it started to ncdu mnt. Oh yeah, this was copying way too much stuff. What's so big in my home folder? Local, share, Steam apps, common. Oh, it's Warframe. All right, well. So that did not, it was still copying, but we can do like an rsync AVP. That would probably be a better way to copy this stuff. SY, or you can just do an S. rsync. Help if you spelled sync wrong. Oh, no, it's already installed. So I think if we just do an rsync mnt to mnt @ symbol, and we need to put some options in there. AVP. It's probably better than a straight copy. I thought there was a progress bar on there that we'd be able to see, but I was wrong. But I did get that right, correct? Yeah, I did. Yeah, let's just blow through that real quick. Man, Microsoft Bob, that was that was really going out on a limb. It's amazing. I have a quest for you. I like some quests. So yeah, I was just copying Warframe, really. Well, didn't Microsoft troll us all with like Clippy? They did something with Clippy. This is my new live stream, yes. I mean, it's not really new. I've live streamed in the past. It's just really I did it a lot on Twitch instead of here. But I was like, let's do it on YouTube, see what happens. It's also a good way to like think of good videos to make and other things that people will give value. You can kind of see me build different projects and work on different things. Like right now we're working on what happens if you mess up your BetterFS install and you install it all to the root instead of a sub-volume like you should do. Well, we're going to see if we can't use rsync to get us out of this mess. If not, then oh well. Yeah, these are some big packages. And the transfer times are actually pretty low here. It's only transferring at 70 or so megabytes per second. So that would be, I mean, that's, I guess, not too low. But usually, spinning platter tops out at around 100 megs. NVMe should go all the way up to like a gig per second. So probably some shenanigans going on here as far as it transferring from one little sector to a sub volume in BetterFS, where this probably actually shows how poor the performance is in BetterFS compared to if we were using ext4 or XFS or heck, even F2FS. I think all those are going to probably beat BetterFS in performance scores. Man, Michael, I'm impressed. You got over 32 gigs in your memory. What were you running? Like a whole bunch of VMs? I have 32 and I barely even touch it. Libre Gaming. I think I've heard of that Control Plus. Yeah, video editing I could see. In VMs too. Man, I would say I'm somewhat of a power user. And I barely even... I mean, I run without a swap file on 16 gigs before. Without much fanfare. But, you know. Different programs, I guess. That's one hell of a program. All right. Oh, man. Overly saturated. I think there's... I can't remember the calibration tool I was using for saturation on Linux. Most of mine are pretty good by stock settings. The best calibration tools I've actually had was running... Oh, man, what was it? I think it was running Mac. Mac has a great calibration tool for color correctionists. I want to say that was probably the one I was impressed the most with. But Linux, I think, has, I want to say, probably some of the worst color calibration that I've run into. I can't remember what I was using for the calibration, though. Because I don't know if any desktop environments had it built in. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, chat. But yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Apple monitors have always been some of the best, but man, their pricing. Whew, they expensive. Xcal. Thank you. Thank you, Tush. Yeah, but calibration's a little bit of a weak point. It's always, video and audio has always been kind of an afterthought when it comes to Linux, because most of Linux is used for more of a server basis. Yeah, I usually rock 4 workstations. I never, whenever I go over 4 workspaces with like virtual desktops and that type of thing, I never really see a performance benefit, and I always end up like forgetting what apps I was putting in what workspaces. Yeah, Cubes OS tutorial. I really want to circle back to Cubes, because Cubes is such a neat idea with the compartmentalization, and a lot of people are becoming more privacy and security obsessed, where Cubes gives you all that. It's just it's an unwieldy distribution to understand and wrap your head around, because you got to really know a lot about virtualization and networking to truly, take part in it, I should say, to keep your sanity, I'd say. Yeah, we're flying now. I think that Warframe was just a lot of files to copy over, guys. We'll see how it does. Feel better now that we at least have some kind of front-end GUI, so we can kind of see where it's at. I'll just kind of watch it. Not seeing all this text fly by the screen, that's probably not the most entertaining thing. Yeah, web browsing is probably the most memory intensive thing. I can totally see how that could throw a wrench in things for folks. All right, so it looks like rsync is actually pulling in and copying all of the that's a bummer. All right, let's go desktop again. So this is what was happening. It was actually grabbing all of the symbol. Let's see how this looks. The home folder still is bigger than this, though. How is that? That's weird. What's in the home folder? It's just that. Just those games and the .local, which is just Steam, I think. Yeah, Steam. BattleNet. I think I was trying to play Diablo 2 Resurrected. I got it like working and then it just stopped. I'm just going to delete all this content. It's fine. And all of M&T in here. Let's get rid of all that. Oh, we could take the nuclear approach and just move everything. Or you know what we could do? rsync. The smarter thing to do is just to do an exclude. Exclude. I think we can just go dash and then put the @ symbol in. So if we go back to our rsync command, and then we just do dash exclude and do that. I think that should work. I think we need to do mnt /@. And that should get the rest of it. We'll see. All right. Back to copying. I just saw it started to copy everything in the mnt @ which is the sub volume. Working with these working in the root of these better FS file systems can be such a headache. But we'll let that run for a bit. I'll keep my eye on it. Gumby Coin, what's up, man? Ooh, look at that. Switch this around. Yeah, thanks, John. Thanks for watching, man. Love the videos. How about some StarCraft 2 again? Oh, man. Did I play StarCraft 2? I can't remember. Yeah, I just see it scroll over here. Looks like it's working good now, though. I don't see any nesting happening where it's copying to a folder and then copying the copy, which it was doing. That would have been very, very bad. You should be recording at 24 frames per second. I probably could. I don't have a problem with 24 frames. Some people, it drives them crazy. I record at 30 right now. Or 29.97 or whatever it is on the camera. I think the whole reason why I didn't do that was the cameras I'm using, I don't know if they have a 24 frames one. I do like 24 frames just because of the size difference. I really don't care about the cinematic look, though. Midnight Protocol. Sounds familiar. Yeah, 60 FPS movies, they've tried it a couple times. I think part of The Hobbit had 60 frames per second that it was shot in. There's been a couple issues, and then I think Gemini Man, they shot at 120 frames per second. It becomes a little weird. Like, a lot of the cinematic and movie motion blur helps out with the actual movie itself. Specifically, I remember Gemini Man, which tanked, but I remember watching a scene where it showed the comparison of 24 frames and 120 frames. And the 120 frames, like, there's this moving scene with like a stunt double, and you could totally tell it was just a stunt double in the 120 frames, where the blur helped kind of hide or obscure that fact. Yeah, soaps are 30 frames. It's just released. Look at the trailer. Yeah, I will. Oh, yeah. Hobbit had 48 frames on cinema. They doubled the 24 frames per second. The Hobbit's like the most bloated mess, though, of a movie. I think somebody on YouTube recut it all. I remember watching a whole YouTube video about it where they recut Hobbit to not be terrible. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Is the Archmatic script functional? Yes. I actually did it at the very beginning of this stream. I think we started it. It ran for about 25 minutes, I want to say, and it did complete. So that was completely functional and worked out really well. If you watch the past streams, how I was setting it up, I had to kind of clarify at the beginning of this one, where I was like, hey, that was just a kind of a troubleshooting thing to kind of get all the pieces lined up. And then today I showed more of not necessarily the complete thing. I'll make a new project once it's completely kind of ironed out all the kinks, but it's pretty functional right now. And you can just run archmatic.sh, and then it goes through each one of those scripts and runs it how it should run, which is good. These were the HDR, I think, 175 Sennheisers. Yeah, Tom Cruise is crazy though for stunts he's doing. Oh my word. Peter, it should be. I think I put a make package in there. Did you run the Archmatic? If so, I need to reset that setting because it should adapt. It should pull how many threads your CPU has and then add that to the make package. But now that I'm thinking about it, I might have put that in the pre-install. No, I think I put it in the setup. No, I think it's running at full threads. Okay. Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, I made the make flag should be set to whatever threads are on your processor. I did put that code in there, but I was wondering where I would have put it. I would have put it with the actual system setup. There's no way I put it in the pre-install. I don't think. I'll look. If I wasn't copying all these files from console, I would look right now. Yeah, other things to fix out of Arch is the crappy key server. I think I still need to add that in. I usually just go with like, Ubuntu's key server's good. You can do a lot of different key servers. Custom server. I've used like DDWRT and some other things for custom firmwares in the past. Not a huge thing today though. I kind of not that interested in just because a lot of routers these days are really underpowered. And there's the existence of like pfSense where you can just build out your own and make your own gateway and router. And I think that's really the approach I think many people take these days, where we didn't really see that 10, 15 years ago, I think is when I was using DDWRT, which I think that whole custom firmware came about because I think it was the late 90s, early 2000s. The most popular router in the world was a Linksys or I think it was like a WRT 54G. And that router, my goodness, you could put all kinds of custom firmware and cool stuff on it. It was neat. It was really neat back then. But these days, most routers, anytime I look at them, even like the big fancy like $300 ones, I don't know. Let's just say I'm unimpressed by most of them. So don't really use custom firmware. Oh, yeah. Was that the Gen 2 stream when I compiled with one thread? That was terrible. Oh, my word. I think I just closed down the stream after everybody fell asleep and then just went to bed. Hey, GSN, how you doing, man? I'm doing pretty good. We're doing a little bit of a copy. I just didn't want to give people seizures by this spam. That's not very fun to look at, so I was just like, I'm gonna just come back here until that gets resolved. Once it gets through Lutris here, it should finish, and we can check this disk usage. Any recommendation tools to optimize 8.1? Man, I hadn't used Windows 8.1 in a long time. After they stopped supporting it, AMD, and I think 2017, I just lost all interest in the 8.1. I'm a bit of an AMD fanboy, and I think all of the 400 and 500 series graphics cards don't have 8.1 drivers. And then I was just like, I'm done. So Windows 8.1 ended up in the trash bin for me. About, what, 4 years now? Something like that. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Microsoft supported, and a lot of actual companies supported Windows 7 for the longest time. They actually supported Windows 7. I know AMD supported it all the way up to 2020 when it went end of life. But for the longest time, Windows 7 had actually better support than Windows 8. For a good, 3 years? From 2017 to 2020, Windows 7 was actually better supported than Windows 8. So I obviously don't recommend Windows 8 or Windows 7. if you didn't catch that, it's not a pleasurable experience. If you're in that realm and you're like, I can't do Windows 10 or Windows 11, yeah, you probably should start learning Linux. That will help you out. Have you heard about the Windows decrease? Yeah. Microsoft apparently worked with Intel in depth with Windows 11, but they put in a lot of level 3 cache issues to help optimize the hybrid cache system for the new Alder Lake systems for Intel. And what that did is it gimped all the AMD chips. So anybody with an AMD CPU on Windows 11 is encountering 15% performance decreases. And then they patched it saying, hey, this is going to make it better. And then it made it worse. And in true Microsoft's fashion, that happened. And then I think there's a patch for it now to help. But I haven't been following it that much. Usually for the first month, I kind of let Windows be Windows for that first initial launch. And then I just tell anybody that asks, don't upgrade to Windows. And then or Windows 11, and then just wait a month or two, at least, probably 6 months if you want to be more on the safe side. It should iron out a lot of those kinks. Stay on Windows 10 if you stay on Windows. Just hang out on Windows 10 for a little bit, and then when Windows 11 is ready, that's when you do it. But never do it on launch day. You're just a guinea pig. Yeah. 15%. Would you buy Microsoft Corp if you had the money? No. I mean, those are all already established, and that's if you have the money, you'd want to build. If you had that much money, obviously, you're going to build your own business. Microsoft, I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure it's $1 trillion company now. What's the difference in an executable file and a deb? There's a big difference between those two things. Executable is a Windows-only program. They function completely different. It's compiled completely different. Deb is made for the apt package manager in Linux, and it's packaged, obviously, a lot differently. Think of deb more like a zip file, where an executable file is more of set in stone. So deb's really like this zip file that kind of gets compressed, and then you take it over to your Linux install, and then it goes, oh, okay, what do you got? It opens up the lid, and then goes, okay, I'll take that. Where an executable file is more of like this set in stone kind of binary that it just runs. And those are really the two big differences between the two. Good question, though. Can you create permission manager for Linux and Windows apps? I haven't messed around when it comes to using Windows apps and a lot of the Windows NTFS file system. The permissions work differently between the two, and I got to see what the new kernel is and see how that interfaces. It's a good question, though. Oh wow, yeah. So it's nearly 2 trillion now for Microsoft. Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah, and there are no dumb questions, so to speak. I think that's one of the biggest problems with Linux in general is a lot of people lashing out about people asking questions. What seems like an easy question to someone that uses Linux, like a deb package, it's less certain because you got to remember from a Windows user's perspective, here's how you'd use your system. You would always go to a website from wherever, theprogramiwant.com. You'd go to that website. You would download usually an executable that's a binary that you would execute, and then it would install into your system. Heck, it used to be way worse than that too. When you'd go to install that, you'd throw all the files in there, and then those files, you'd have registry entries that also get added. Thank goodness they don't really do that much anymore. And yeah, I mean, it's always been, that's the traditional methodology between using Windows, and Linux just operates so much differently, and it's so new to a Windows user because the whole system functions differently. It's structured differently. Everything is so much different. Chris is calm, sometimes overly calm. Ah, man, you gotta enjoy life. It's my view. Probably punches his cat off camera. Only if it wakes me up. Are you into chess? Man, I love some chess. Love chess, Ryan. Chess is my favorite game. It's one that never gets old. You never get topped out in talent. Every time I play, let's say 100 games of chess, I know my skill level increases that much, just a little bit. But the next time I go to approach it, I know I'm better than the time before. Unless I try and play too many games in a row, and then I start to go tilt, and then it gets ugly. Yeah, I'll play some online chess with you, GSN. Yeah, this is almost finished. I think we're towards the end here. We're in the var directory. It stopped, just spooling. I should have deleted that Arch Linux qcal file. Eagle OS. I don't really show distributions on my channel. I usually just talk about just general Linux and how you'd use Linux, and that distributions. I don't matter. They don't matter to me. I know that kind of gets old to hear, but a lot of times they just don't. Too many people get sucked up in that, like I said. But I mean, it's important to understand just like the different things that go into Linux. Yeah, there's a definite convenience factor to Linux in the fact that when you update your system, you're updating video drivers, you're updating packages, you're updating everything in there. Where in Windows, you typically would have to go between each one, and it even gets worse than that because a lot of times you have specific programs running in the background where it is monitoring and always running, looking at you. Like GeForce Experience is a great example of that. That it actually uses quite a bit of resources and doesn't really provide much value other than the fact that it tells you when there's a new driver available. Sometimes there's shadow play and rewind that people use, but rarely do people actually use these extra features, and it's just a lot of bloat, and it's pretty heavy on telemetry. A lot of people are always crapping on Windows telemetry, but really a lot of the extra programs that people install on Windows are even worse, you know. Yeah, so distribution, it depends on the distribution. I think you bait someone with like 1 or 2 distributions, try to simplify the choices, and then teach them how to customize it. I think that's really the journey. Too many people just go, hey, there's 1,000 different distributions, pick one. And that is the worst thing you can do for a new user. But, I mean, every distribution has its own little spin. Every little quirks here and there. But don't get too caught up in it, is my thought. Learn to customize what you need. You can't really run Android apps on Linux OS. There's something called Anbox that you could use that kind of emulates that, but it's not great. If you're really into like Android development, I highly recommend Chrome OS. Actually, Chrome OS is great for Android developers. I don't know why more people don't use Chrome OS that are Android developers, because that has all the native built-in support for a lot of the Android stuff. But I'm not big on Android, so I don't really care. Not that I'm an Apple user. I have an Android phone, but not. I'm usually just enough to strip out what I need. It's pretty much done. PR frag. The status of the SteamOS script is pretty much there. The project's been updated. I'm probably going to take that, copy it over into new project file, and make a video about it. Oh, I think we're finally done with this. For anybody that's still here. Yeah, there we go. Cool. All right, so now we have that. We can go into the at directory. CD at. We should have. That doesn't look right. Oh no. We're missing like proc and a whole bunch of extra stuff. Eek. Rsync. Grep dash help. Grep system. Nope. Let's do a man page of rsync. I think we can do advanced usage. What I'm looking for here is using rsync to copy all of the system files over into that, because I need to copy like proc and all of those commands in, and I'm not sure if it can do a full image using rsync. Copy symlinks as symlinks. Probably should have done that. It's almost, at this point, I'm almost like, I'd rather just reinstall the operating system. As terrible as that is to say. But for real. Yeah, I want to just copy all of that. I think the links would probably be good, but... it does not preserve hard links. See, since it's not going to preserve some of the hard links and sim links that we have, I don't think we can do it this method. Ah, heck. Yeah. I was just trying to do that subvol routine and get that going for better FS. Yeah. ETC fstab. We'll just set it back. It's not like the end of the world. Not really what I wanted to do, but you know, so be it. Yeah, that's fine. Better FS. All right, that looks good. Oh well, all that for nothing. Story of my life. Yeah, let's not reboot the system before we point better FS at the wrong sub volume, though, right? That would not be good. That would yield a not a good result. Oops, we booted into the wrong system. My bad. Let's change that to our bootloader. Unless I deleted the bootloader. Which I don't think I really did anything destructive there, so I doubt that happened. Let's just go Linux. Nope, not Linux Boot Manager, but I think that one right there should get us what we need. Oh, that's weird. A lot of latency. Oh well. I'm sure it's nothing. Yeah, I think, Peter, the one I really was kind of dead set learning next for Window Manager was BSPWM. I really kind of like the layout of BSPWM. And the thing I hate about DWM was the fact you got to compile it after each change, so to speak. I think BSPWM is just a better structure in all. Oh, installing Chrome OS. I don't know. Chrome OS is very particular on the hardware that you use. Very, very particular. All right. Let's see. Somebody wanted to play a game of chess, right? We can do some chess and then call it a day. Let's see if we got anything. Oh, man. 1 second. There we go. If you're on Chess, you can challenge me at Chris Titus. Let's see. Let's see how we do. Oh, okay. Do you have Chess or are you chess.com? Oh, there we go. Oh, 2209. Oh, I'm going to get my... This is going to be ugly. Let's see what happens. All right. Let's come back. Oh. Ugh, not good. Well, what are we gonna do here? Got to get something going on. Well, yeah, we're 1 pawn down, so we'll lose in the end game. Yeah, great. Yeah. Take his pawn. Oh, it's gonna get ugly. Just gotta think of something to get going here. I got nothing. Yeah, gotta think of something here. See if I can do something with this pawn structure. Oh, man. I figure I did that because if he takes, I'll just take his queen. And this should break up the pawn structure a little bit at least. And then we got a queen exchange, but I'm still one pawn down. So if I take... I mean, at this point, he's such a high level. Not much I can do. Not much I can do. Now, 2 pawns down. Who's counting? All right. What do we got? Let's see here. Go ahead. At least white squares are okay. Can't really do much there. But that's okay. We're doing all right. We're doing all right. What are we gonna do with this, though? Probably shouldn't have done that. Darn it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Ugh. Rough. Oh, wait, I might have won. Yeah. Oh, no. Darn it. Shouldn't have said anything. Shouldn't have said anything. Now it's a resignation. Oh, I almost had checkmate there. Oh, that's why you shouldn't say anything on stream. Oh, that would have been nice if I wouldn't have said anything. And then he just overlooked. I'm pretty sure he saw it, though. He's 2200. There's no way he didn't see that. What do we do here? I guess we got to get our kings involved. There's not much else going on the board. Not much else going on. Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, that's so game. Dang it, I gotta come back. Yeah, poo. And then it's my, what, 2 pawns versus, well, not much I can do here. I think this is resign time. Yep. That's all I got. Good game, man. Good game. Just glad I didn't get completely face stomped. Yeah. Do you like Chick-fil-A? Yeah, man. Chick-fil-A's good. Alrighty. Oh, that wasn't even GSN Mithra. Alright. Here, GSN's on here. I promised GSN one game. One game, and then that's it. And then I'm going to go. Oh, no, you did correspondence. I don't think chat's going to hang around for the moves. Yeah, he played really well. He just whooped me. I hadn't been whooped like that for a while. What am I doing here? Might just go ham. Sometimes it's fun just going ham. What are we doing? What is that? Sicilian? I don't know. 2 questions for you. One, should I upgrade to Windows 11 or wait a bit to upgrade? Wait a bit, for sure. Wait till all the bugs are at least, especially if you're an AMD user right now. 2, top 5 Linux distros you recommend. Pop, Mint, Arch, Manjaro, and then probably rounding out the top 5, probably Fedora, just to throw something Red Hat's way. That would be my top 5. I have no idea what I'm doing here. Should probably pay more attention. Fedora. You hate Fedora? No, I don't hate Fedora. That's a lie. I just don't mention Fedora very much. Nothing wrong with Fedora. Oh, that was interesting. Did not see that move coming. Yeah, I haven't even tried out Slackware. Yeah, no, I haven't installed it. Probably should. For sure. But yes, no, I have not. Yeah, I did it was one of my first Linux operating system, I think, was Fedora, actually. OpenSUSE, it's just so obscure. It's just a little too strange. A little too strange for me. I honestly would have just taken my queen and continued on. I think that was somewhat salvageable. What else? We got one more challenge. 5-3. I like a 5-3. 5-3 games are fun. Hey, he's right up my alley. He's right around my my rating. That's cool. Probably gonna get destroyed now. No, I don't know what I'm doing here. That was a bad move. No, go ahead and challenge, man. I don't mind. Still got a little bit of time. Do we really need rsync if we're going to copy paste directory somewhere else? I mean, not necessarily. How do we want to play this? Okay. That works out, I guess. Well, that is... Can I do anything about that? Not really. I guess I could come back here. Seems like really playing super passive at that point, though. Just give it up. Yeah. It's actually probably the best move. Sad to say. Yeah, so if I didn't move this back, I was afraid he's going to take that, then he'd fork and grab my rook, and then it's pretty much game over. So I'm like, ugh. That's terrible. And then if I left that there, he could have just taken with that, then it destroys my whole pawn structure, and then, again, forget about it. But things are looking up. Let's see here. Got an idea. I don't know how this is going to work. This is pinned, which means we're going to probably be looking at some crazy action here coming up very, very shortly. Now it's like double pinned. This is pinned. Oh, this is pinned. That's not good. Oh, danger, Will Robinson, danger. Yeah, I think what we'll do with this, I need to get my king out of there, but at the same time, I don't want to... No, that's just... no, that'll work. That'll work. I can make that work. Anything you can do on Linux to optimize and improve internet speed? There's a couple like syscontrol options you can do to make it bearable. But yeah. There's not too much as far as I'm trying to think if there's any like packets or anything that would be detrimental to that. Oh, that's not good. Let's see. Still not the end of the world, though. Huh. Okay. We're gonna lose that horse. Bye-bye, horse. He's very productive with his pieces. Just doesn't want to let go. I don't know if I'm doing any damage to this, though. Probably not. I'm probably doing more harm than good here. Oh, is there anything I can do? What kind of play? Is there any play here? Well, not really. Oh, well. Still a good trade on his part. This is game. Oh, sad face. Now he's just gonna want to trade everything because I'm down 4 points. I should probably just quit. Ah, you got me here. I guess play a little bit further. We'll play it a minute. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's going to be that. And then he's going to have 6 pawns and that going in the end game. It's over. Good game. Good game, Jam. All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for today. Thought at least someone mentioned chess in chat. And I was like, yes. Even though I made a terrible performance today. Yeah, well. Can't win them all. Can I work for you for free? No, I wouldn't feel right about that, man. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I typically wouldn't. I was running low on time. I just didn't have any ideas. If I had a good idea of a place to attack there, Amir, I would definitely have gone for it, but I didn't have anything. It was like, oh, well. Thanks so much, Mitchell. Noob. That's a great sticker. It is a great sticker. I love it. But yes, that is a very good advice. Don't trade when down. Working for free can have its benefits starting off if you're real young. My first IT job, I worked for free. It was actually after hours. After I got off work, I went and helped out a buddy and learned my first server stuff working for free. So there's value in it. I just wouldn't feel right doing that. You can change windows to grub, but yeah. All right, guys. Well, it was fun. I'll probably pop in Friday. It's going to be the next live stream. I probably will also correspond with the release of the new project. I'll probably got like Arch Titus or something like that. And then next week's live stream after Friday will probably be something either Debian or maybe we go do a Windows, switch it up a little bit, work on one of those projects. I've got a couple ideas kind of spinning around in my head. One last project that I didn't talk about today, and it's something that I've kind of had going in the background here. And if you look, but if we actually look back here, this guy right here is actually running on a Jetson Nano, and it's like a more powerful Raspberry Pi. It's one thing that I've been working on a little bit, and I need to design an entire image and everything around that because the Jetson Nano desktop image is pretty terrible and very, very bloated, like 12 gigs. So I am working on more of like a retro Pi style system that is also a Fire Stick replacement. It's an old project that I've been meaning to get to, and I just haven't. But that is what that guy is back there, and Yeah, it should emulate games, play videos, even do desktop replacement a lot better than a Pi because the graphics in it are considerably better. Obviously, no stuttering, very, very clean, which you can kind of see. But yes, I will definitely do Debian as well. I just want to kind of give a little bit of more of a shake up here at the start. I'd hate to do 2 back-to-back giant builds of Linux. But very cool. Just some other projects I want to kind of throw out there. And then also kind of throw Windows folks a bone because I know a lot of the viewership I have is from Windows as well. So that's a couple different things, a couple different projects I've been kicking around. Thanks for stopping by. I know today was more of an informal Q&A and just kind of talking about projects, but fun. Even a little chess at the end. I love chess, though. I can't ever turn down a chess challenge, to say the least, even though, oh man, Amir kicked my butt. That was great. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to shut it down for today. Thank you all. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.